Hey guys, welcome back to OP Podcast. We hope you've had a lovely week. How are you?
I'm fine.
Yes.
We hope you've enjoyed yourself since the last episode. We hope that you've taken in everything that we said about, positivity and reframing certain situations and, maybe being able to put yourself in a position that can, really kind of try and deal with it quicker just so you can move on and get on with whatever you need to do. Or just be happy, really.
Yeah. So, following our a few posts, we've wanted to talk a bit about
when we first met. So we've been talking about our marriage and relationship in general, but I guess we wanted to dive a little bit deeper into how we met, kind of dating then,
yes,
and what we think dating is now.
Yes.
Because I don't think either of us really know from experience what it is like now.
Yes.
Because we haven't had to for 10 years now.
Yes.
And that's a long time.
That's a long time. So, those of you, if you're new to our podcast, then welcome. If you're not new, then you probably already know that we are both 28. We are parents, first-time parents, so we've got a child, a son, and we both work full-time, and we're both also studying as well full-time. We both already have degrees and postgrads, but our careers requires us to
continue to study,
and it is a very stressful, hectic life we've got going on. One of our goals this year is to try to save up to buy a house. Maybe if not buying the house, then being halfway there, at least having more than we have now.
Part of that reframing,
positivity. Part of that reframing / positivity mindset that we discussed in our last podcast. If you haven't listened to that, listen to that. But yeah, today we're going to talk a bit about how we met. And we met 10 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago now. So we've been married for 5 years. We're going into our 5th year in August this year. Yeah.
So this is our 5th year.
Yes.
It will be 5 years in August.
Yes. We've been married for 5 years now, and we've dated for 10, I guess. Been together for 10.
Coming up to 10 actually next month.
It doesn't feel like 10 years.
Doesn't it?
It's bizarre.
You have no idea how glad I am for you to say that. So, it's been so long. God, it's felt like ages. And oh God.
No, it does not feel like 10 years.
Because that makes me feel like you are actually happy to be in this relationship.
It almost feels like time froze like 3 years into it. I feel like first year was, oh, la-di-da, honeymoon phase. Second year was, okay, shit's a bit real, honeymoon phase more often, but this is quite difficult and requires work. To make this relationship thing work requires actual work. And then third year was, okay, I feel like we've got the hang of this now.
We got into a swing.
Yeah.
And it's just continued to be at that kind of,
yes.
We've been able to continue to keep things flowing and moving. Yes. Obviously, we've had obstacles along the way and things come up and they need to be dealt with and whatever, but we've just continued to be there by each other's side and knocking and fighting these things as they come along.
Do you know what's funny?
What's funny?
In our 10 years together, in terms of, some people cheat or feel like, oh, I felt tempted, or I've never, ever in our entire 10 years wavered, like, at all.
That's because, well, see, the thing is, this is a podcast, so they can't see us. But if you could see us, you wouldn't understand what you were saying.
What are you trying to say?
As in, you're clearly the better looking one out of the two of us.
Shut the fuck up. I'm not doing what the fuck are you talking about? That's not what I'm saying. Even that's not true, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I've never felt like that from me, as in like looked at another man and thought, oh my God, my life would be better or could be better, or I wonder, or is the grass green on the other side? I've never wavered in myself in that sense.
No.
No, I've just been like, this is where I'm at. I'm happy. I'm here to stay. You know?
Good to know.
Yeah.
No. No, I mean, I don't think I have either. I knew fairly early on that I was going to have serious feelings for you.
How early are we talking now?
Very early.
How early?
I told you.
Give me a rough estimate.
A rough estimate.
Yes.
I don't know, if you, maybe like a month in.
Really?
Yeah. Because we've talked about this, but I remember telling you, and you were just lying next to me and just like, okay, thank you. Like, like that really like cliche, oh, the other person doesn't want to say I love you back. It's like, but inside you're thinking,
3 months into it.
What the fuck? Like sirens blaring in your head, like, fuck.
Run for the hills.
Yeah, it's like, oh God, he's one of those desperate twats. Kick him out. No, I don't know. It was very different to the relationships I had before, and I know it's all early days and whatever, but I don't know. I felt a real connection between the two of us. I just thought that we spoke every day as well.
We did. So when we met in the club, it does not sound as horrible as it seems.
It doesn't. It's not as icky as it seems.
No. So we both recently come out of relationships, to sum it up, and I think you had broken up 2 months or so, or maybe 4.
I think it was somewhere between a few weeks to maybe a month or 2.
Yes, and I had broken up with my ex 2 weeks. I know yours was 2 months, mine was 2 weeks, and I was going through it. I was quite sad and studying, and it just stressed out. So our exam results came out, and I'd passed one of my exams, and my friends were saying, I lived with 7 girls, well, let's go out, and I was like, no, I don't want to. And your housemates, I guess, were also doing the same thing to you.
Yeah, and then I lived with 7 boys.
Yeah.
And I know they were all pre-drinking and inviting some of their friends around and saying, oh, why don't you join us? And I was like, well, I don't really feel like it. I don't think I had anything particular going on or any news to celebrate or anything, but I was just like, I'm not in the mood. But they said, well, why don't you at least join us before we go? So, I was just drinking along with them, and they said eventually, oh, we're going to head off to the club. And I said, fine, let me go upstairs and change, into a shirt and some smartish jeans.
I remember what you were wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you were wearing your checkered, it was black and red shirt, and you had blue jeans on and brown shoes. I think I went out with the girls. We went to the same club, and we took a picture with this mascot a few minutes apart from each other. So there was a mascot outside of the club. Met at the club, and then I saw you talking to one of my housemates, and I approached. She had a boyfriend, by the way, so I was just like, oh, who's that guy? And then the boyfriend was, oh, that's our friend from secondary school. So I smiled at you, and a song started playing. We just started dancing, and boom. Boom, we're married with babies.
Yeah. Well, we started dancing. I know we were dancing for a bit, and I think we quickly grabbed some extra drinks. Nothing crazy or like, oh, let's do like a line of shots. Let's get shit faced. Like, no, nothing like that. We just grabbed an extra drink.
Yeah.
Continued to talk. What I say talk, like, have to shout, because clubs.
Yes.
Went back to the dance floor. You got 2.
Yes.
I grabbed 1.
Yes. and you then had to go. I think your boys were going to a different club or something, so you had to go, or I had to go, but we got separated.
No,
You had to go. You had to
yeah, I
run
had
off.
to go. I left.
So you left, and I just carried on dancing into the night. I just danced and danced, and I had fun, and got home. And the next morning, I had a pounding. I think that was the worst hangover I've ever had till this date. I had a pounding headache. I could feel, you know, when you can feel the blood whooshing in your ear.
Throb.
Yes, it was like you can hear the blood going. Whoosh, whoosh. I could hear that, so I woke up, you know, squinting, not wanting to open my eyes. The sun's too bright, and then the loud thudding of my friend knocking on my door, like tum 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 tum.
Are you awake?
Are you awake? And I was like, oh my god, shh. And then she was like, oh, you know, my friend, he asked for your number. Can I give him your number?
Did
Cut
she
out
ask
your name,
first?
obviously. Yeah. She asked for your number. Can I give him your number? And I said, yes, sure. At that point, it occurred to me that I kissed you the night before. You know, when you realise, I was like,
Yeah. See, luckily I already know that you didn't remember kissing me or what I looked like or anything like that. But
I did remember kissing you, but you know, when you freshly wake up and you're just like, oh, still trying to figure out where you are, and then you have my friend knocking on the door, and then that kind of took me out. So when she mentioned, oh, he wants your number, and then my mind just went, it was kind of like That's So Raven when she goes, I just went, oh, flashback, okay, this is happening.
Raven flashes forward, just so you know.
Oh, flashes forward,
Yeah.
yes. But yeah, just so you know, that's what happened. And it was fun.
Yeah.
And pretty much that was it. We just got very serious pretty quick, actually.
Yeah. I mean, I was spending a lot of time at your place with your friends and everything.
Yes.
We went out for a date relatively shortly after that. I think I had to go back home quickly, but we met up. And
we met up 2 weeks after we met.
Yeah.
Because I remember you had to go home. For family. There was a family situation you had to go home for. And funnily enough, from the minute I got your number, or the minute you got my number, and you text me saying, hey, it's...
Hey.
I was like, oh my gosh, he's texted me. I was like, okay. How do I play this? Let's wait 10 minutes. And then I was like, no.
Oh no,
2 minutes later,
you didn't do that, did you?
No, I didn't. I couldn't handle myself. It was like 2 seconds. I just went, hi, how you doing?
I was gonna say, if I'd have known that you were doing stuff like that, that would have made me think differently.
I was just like, hey, how you doing? And then we just started talking, and I think we just spoke. We just texted the whole day.
We talked every day.
For a week straight, several exchanges in the day.
Throughout the day, every day.
Yeah, and I was walking around campus not knowing who this guy is.
Yeah, because you didn't remember what I looked like.
I didn't remember what he looked like. I didn't...
Miss 2 drinks at a time.
As in, I didn't remember his face. But I remembered... I knew your face, but as in, I don't remember your voice. I don't remember how you moved and things like that. So I was just like, oh my gosh, it could be anyone. I don't really remember. I just know this shape of a person. And his face is a blur to me. And we were texting, and I'll be walking around campus thinking he could be any one of these guys walking past me. And we eventually agreed to meet up for a date.
We did, and you staked it out before we were meant to meet up.
I did. I got to the agreed venue very, very early. Maybe half an hour early, because I only lived about 5 minutes away from there. And one of my girls went into a restaurant opposite where we agreed to meet. and we just sat in there and decided to watch and try to guess which one he is, who my date is, because we both didn't know him and I didn't remember his face. But yeah, something about you walking down the road and walking into the restaurant, you looked like you were a man with a mission.
Yeah, to see you again.
On his mind. And I just immediately went, that's him. And I remember my friend being like, oh my god, yes, it is. You know how she is.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, it is. Come on, let's go. B, let's go. So we went.
I can picture that perfectly as well.
Yeah. She's like, come on. And she opened the door, and she's so tiny. I'm very tall in my friendship group. I think I'm the second tallest. But yeah, we're both
Second?
quite... Yeah.
Who's taller? Oh, yeah.
But yeah, and then we got to the restaurant, so you were standing there waiting, but you were looking in the opposite direction. You were looking ahead, we were coming from behind, so because you were expecting me to be walking towards the restaurant.
Yeah.
I was walking behind, and then she just shoved me into you, and we just went into the restaurant, and we were like, oh my gosh, hi. And I think you gave me a hug or something.
Yeah, it was one of those, like, I know we've been talking, but we haven't actually seen each other for a little bit. And I know it's one of those, like, awkward, do we do handshake, do we just say hello, fist bump, hug, quick kiss, you're not sure what to
I remember the exact thing I was wearing and how I had my hair that day. I remember it to detail.
Because I don't remember what I was wearing.
One day, I think that was the day you actually had your red checkered shirt on.
Yeah, okay.
Not at the club. I think at the club you had a jumper or something on.
Oh, I wouldn't have had a jumper.
No.
No, I probably just had a shirt.
Yeah, but for the first date, you definitely had your red checkered shirt on with black jeans and brown shoes. And I remember you roll up your sleeve up to your elbow.
Yeah. That's like classic look. I always roll my sleeves up.
Up to your elbow.
Yeah. I was, jumper, shirts, everything.
Yeah.
I usually have everything rolled up.
Yeah.
No idea why. I just I don't know. Material touching my forearms. No, that's a big no for me.
It's true. Even before we had kids, it's not because we've got a child and he doesn't want to get his sleeves dirty. It's just he's always been that way.
No, I decided as an early 20-year-old, I want to dress like a 40-year-old.
Aspirations, baby.
Look, just I know I'm going to be a dad and married at some point. I might as well just settle into this now. Yeah, exactly. So.
But yes, and then we had our first date, and then I think the first date, we went out for drinks, and I cooked food before I met you. So I think I made rice and chicken. So we went out for drinks, which you paid for, and then the meal I cooked. And we just stayed up chatting the entire night. So we met around 8 or 7 for our dinner date. Went back to mine around maybe say 10ish, and we just stayed up the whole night, legit just sat on the sofa watching a movie, and you were showing me magic tricks and things like that with your cards, and I was just like, oh wow. That's amazing.
Don't say it like that, it makes it sound like you were lying.
Oh no, but
okay.
No, because I was very giddy. So
oh my god, you're amazing.
Yeah. Oh my god. Starts at 12 with her extensions.
Oh yeah, because
I had my extensions on. No, I didn't. I had my fro out. Actually, I had my hair out. I was like, oh my god, oh, you're so funny. I remember you left mine at 4 a.m.
It wasn't that late, was it?
It was that late. There were birds chirping outside, and the girls were all asleep. The flat was, the house was in the top, so quiet.
Other than us, clearly.
Yeah. And you just went, oh, good night, princess. And you were like, good night, princess. I'll see you later. Actually, maybe I should say good morning. And I was like, and then we kissed and we said goodbye.
Yeah.
And I went to bed so happy.
See, that's how I could tell that you were at least a little bit interested, laughing at like stupid shit like that.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, she's so funny. And then I spent, I showered and I went to bed and I was so happy. And I think I texted you at 2 p.m. the following, because we went to bed quite late, so I texted you around 2 when I woke up and I was like, hey, how are you? Good morning. And I had already received a text from you. No, you actually texted me back going, oh, I just woke up, how are you? And I was like,
Same.
oh my gosh.
Blushing like,
oh my goodness, he's actually interested. Yeah, it was fun.
Oh, I know, I was there.
It's quite good though. And then we met up, I think maybe at the weekend, a week after we met up again for a second date or something. And it became a regular thing because you got on quite well with the girls at mine.
Yeah, well, I mean, I was already friends with one of them from secondary school, which is
yeah.
the whole reason why I ended up managing to bump into
And
you
I
anyway.
think some of them had met you beforehand as well when you went to their halls once, or you attended a party for one of them before. Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun. And how was dating?
Dating was fun. It was really fun. I mean, I know you were saying about like, oh, you know, I was a little bit unsure about how I wanted to text and things like that. And I don't think I was ever as confident as I was texting you. I was so just, I'll text anything. I'm gonna have some fun with this. You know, still in like within the realms of like stuff that I would actually do and not just like saying lots of random stuff. But you know, I was so much more forward and confident and be like, you know what, I'm just gonna put myself out there and I'm gonna be who I want to be from the start.
Really?
Yeah, just like trying to have fun, trying to be cheeky, but you know, forward and confident.
One thing I did notice was you sent a lot of smiley faces. Like, and it wasn't the emoji; it was just the 2 dots and the open bracket
OG emojis
or closed bracket. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
before emojis were a thing, that was like.
Or you do the colon and then you do the P with the tongue sticking out.
Yeah, colon P or colon.
Yeah.
Bracket and
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
But it was fun. I was just like, oh my gosh, you are not. Because you know most guys want to play it cool, but I think I noticed from the get-go that you weren't trying to play it cool.
No, because I already knew I was cool. No, well, I mean, there was a certain amount of that, but I didn't want me trying to, you know, be like this distant, mysterious person to be like to get in the way, because I'm not mysterious. I'm pretty easy to understand. You know, especially at that point in my life, because you know I was at uni. I didn't really do much, or I hadn't really gone anywhere. Like, I'm pretty simple person really. But you know, like I said, I just wanted to have a bit of fun. You know, while texting you.
Yeah.
You know, dating was fun anyway, just because I enjoyed my time with you.
Yeah. I think we got on really well.
We did.
We still do.
I didn't want to get in my own head too much, and I just thought I'd be in the moment and just enjoy it with you.
Yeah.
Which is not really something that I did before, because I was too like, oh my god, I need to make sure that, you know, because I don't want to end up alone and whatever. But after my breakup, before we met, you know, that's when I said, fuck it. It took me a little while to get to the point where I'd completely gotten over it. On the day, I was like, fuck it, and I was walking home, like, power walking, like, really angry. But, you know, like, a couple of weeks later, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to do whatever I want for me. and not worried too much about being in a relationship or anything like that. So I'm not even gonna look. I'm not even gonna look. Next day, that's when my friends were like, "Hey, we're gonna go to the club." No, I don't really feel like it because I want to do this whole I just want to focus on me thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm not sulking. And then it's like literally the day before where I was like, I'm not gonna look for anything. I managed to bump into you.
I think it was the same for me because with my ex, it was kind of in the works. When a breakup was about to happen, you just know. And there have been talks alluding up to, I don't like this, so please stop, or I'm unhappy with this, and this, and it just kept happening, and the same repetitive behaviours and things like that, and less effort being shown, and then having repeated the first year of uni, I just didn't want to I didn't have the energy. I was done with uni, and I was looking forward to going into the next chapter of my life of being a working adult. And I just thought this behaviour is too childish for me with my ex. So, when we initially broke up, I was kind of feeling down about it, but I was also very focused on my assignments because that was at the period where we had assignments due and we were getting results back for some of them, and I was on placement and other things as such. And I think, the first week was the toughest. I would say 2 months. I think it might have been 2 months I met you afterwards. Anyway, the first week was the toughest, but the first month was the toughest. Gradually, it just got easier in the second month. So I think I'd reached the point where I'd even gotten a part-time job, and I just thought, I'm focusing on me. I'm going to finish my last year really hard and really well. I'm going to live that uni life of just, I think when you start uni, you're looking for a companion. You're like, I want that boyfriend. But second year was more like, let's try and figure out this life thing of getting a part-time job, acing our assignments, and having a balanced lifestyle of like meeting up with my friends and things like that. As well as having time for me, like gymming and swimming and things like such. And when I was that content, and then one of my results came out and I was even more pleased, and the girls were like, let's go out, and I was just like, I don't want to go, I'm really tired, because to be honest, 7 of them were going out and I was quite excited to have the house to myself and be there in peace. But then they're like, come on, your results are out, you've been a hermit for the last 2 months, you've been quite low in mood and things like that, and you're kind of getting back into yourself again, come on, let's go. I just thought, come on then. Fine, I'll go. And then we went. I remember the outfit I had on when I met you as well. And how I had my hair. I think I had a mohawk. I'd done it in a way where I'd pinned up the sides and then I left the top. Yeah. Because I remember...
Yeah, I was going to say, when you said mohawk, I was thinking something thinner, and I was like, no, it wasn't that extreme. It wasn't that extreme.
No, as in, I had a hair, that was just the style, I hadn't shaved the sides or anything. But it's, like, talking about it now, I feel giddy. It's funny how those memories just live in your head.
Yeah, I mean, I think about that quite often, because, whenever anybody asks, where did you meet your wife? I go, in a club, and it's always that instant, like, oh, like, without fail. And then I'm kind of like, well, no, it wasn't like that. And
it was much classier than that.
Well, yeah, but it's more, the way I think of it, it was more just a set of really, like a series of lucky events. Otherwise, we never would have crossed paths. Like, both of our houses wanted to go out to the same club. Neither of us wanted to go, but they managed to convince us. Went to the same club and got there at similar-ish times.
Yeah, 10 minutes apart from each other.
Similar-ish times.
Took pictures with the same thing.
Well, yeah, we went to the same club.
With the mascot, yeah.
Managed to spot my friend from secondary school in there. Didn't go straight away, but after dancing for a bit and then going up to get another drink with my house, I saw her again. I was like, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to go and say hello. I just think it's really lucky. Of all the places that your house could have chosen to go to or mine, it was the same place. We were both convinced to go. We'd both, gotten out of our long-term
relationships as well. And the other weird part was just talking, and when we were texting and finding out more about each other, going, oh, I've got two brothers, and we're like, oh, I've got two brothers too.
Oh, the similarities in our lives as well.
They're the same age. Both sets are literally the same age.
Yeah, because like your middle brother's 24, 25.
Yeah.
My middle brother's 24, 25.
And then the youngest ones are 18,
19.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're roughly the same age. They're all 6 months apart. We're 6 months apart.
We're 6 months apart.
They're 6 months apart.
Yeah. I think our parents are also kind of 6 months apart.
Yeah, I think our parents are similar ages as well.
Yeah. So it's...
Although I think my mum's slightly older.
She is slightly older than mine.
But I think that's like about it, really.
Yeah. The dads are around the same age.
Mm.
Yeah. But that's how we met, and that's how we felt texting each other. And even now talking about it, I feel like that little girl in the uni room, excited that the boy she likes is texting her back, and he's not playing it cool, and he's actually interested, texting me, what are you up to? And already it was just so nice. And then from the first day, on the first night, we established nicknames for each other that's just stuck throughout, and it's so lovely. And recently, actually, we went back to the place where we met. We went back to our university town.
We went back to the place that we had our first date.
Yeah, in November, I think, early November we went, and it was so nice going back after not being there for maybe 8 years.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, nothing had changed. We went back to the same restaurant, sat at the same table, and had a little lunch date. And it was just so weird being there because we had our little one there, and we sitting at this exact same table in the exact same restaurant at the exact same position. It was amazing going back. But it's nice to know that I still feel this way about you and about us in general.
That's really nice to hear.
You just keep telling me that's really nice to hear.
No, but it is. It is. Like, I think when you get to the point when you've been in a relationship for a long time, like regardless of whether you're married or not, you don't always, say things like that to each other.
Mm-mm.
So it's just nice to hear that, you still feel giddy, like with, still...
Not all the time, don't get me wrong. Now I want to kill you more times than I did before as well. So.
Don't ruin it. But no, I mean, I feel the same. Like whenever you call or, text or anything, I'm like, oh, I wonder what she wants.
Probably bugging you.
It's usually just like, oh, can you do this? I'm like, oh, well, yeah. But the initial bit's the important bit. But I look forward to getting home. I look forward to seeing you. I look forward to just, being able to sit down if we're actually able to that day.
Mm-hmm.
But I look forward to being able to jump into bed and just cuddle up, and I just enjoy being able to come back to you after a long day, knowing that you'll be here, or knowing that you'll come back.
It's nice. I feel the same way too most days, most weeks.
Most
days, only because if it's a gym day, then I'm like, oh, it's cold, and I have to go back home to my warm home to see my family, my cold warm home to see my family. But then I have to leave again and go torture myself at the gym. Oh, why do I have to? I don't want to. Oh my God, I hate my life.
Slightly melodramatic.
Yes, but but it's lovely. Yeah, we still love each other after 10 years of being together.
Yeah. So if there's any lesson to learn from everything that we've said, because I think we've just been talking about ourselves for basically half an hour plus.
We're sorry, guys.
But any takeaway is just to don't worry about being too cool. Don't get in your head about having to be a certain way.
Be yourself.
Be yourself, because even if you're not in that relationship right now, you will be, and it will be the most fun thing that you are a part of.
Yeah, and there's no point in starting a relationship on a foundation built with fake layers. There's no need. Be yourself. Don't pretend to be someone that you think they want, because eventually it'll wear off. Fakeness is just kind of like what's it called? True colours is kind of like pregnancy. You can't hide it for too long, and I don't know if that makes sense. Eventually your true colours will shine through.
Eventually you're going to show.
Eventually you're going to show, and the mask will slip off, and this person will look at you and go, oh, I thought X, Y, and Z.
The thing is, it won't even manifest itself in that way. How it will come up is, you'll start acting the way that you usually act, or the way that you actually want to act, rather than the way that you feel like you have to act. And then the other person's like, what are you doing? Why are you changing? Because their perception of you from the start was this person you want, like you wanted them to see, and now you're changing into what you actually want to be. And most of the time they don't mix that well. So the other person's like, you start getting into arguments, and then
and as time goes on, we'll talk about how we work with the dynamics of our relationships as well, and like asking for things, our expectations from each other when we were dating, to being engaged, to being married now, till 5 years into it, because I think a lot of girls expect a certain standard for some of the boys they're dating, but then do not bring equivalent to the table, or
and vice versa. There are things that men expect of women.
100%. So let us know as well the type of topics you want us to talk about. We are honestly happy to talk about anything. Let us know if you prefer this type of our relationship dynamics, talking, how we met, our motivational speaking, or just talking about the cost of living and just ways of living in general. Let us know if you have any questions, dilemmas, or anything as well that you want us to interact with.
Yeah, just let us know your thoughts about everything that we've been talking about, or whether you've got anything to contribute as well.
Yes.
I know it's still early days for this podcast and everything, but we're going to be open and receptive to anything that anybody has to say at the moment.
Yeah. And follow us on our socials as well, on Insta, Twitter, Spotify, and everything as such.
Yeah, so the podcast will be on Spotify and a couple of other places, and YouTube. And then we've got our socials on Instagram and Twitter.
Yeah. Right, guys, have a lovely week ahead.
Yeah, have a lovely week, and we'll make sure to catch you in the next one.
Yeah, ciao, ciao, bye.